So episode number 11. It's fun. We're moving along on these episodes. So I just had episode 10 drop yesterday. We recorded that last Friday. So Robert Delina, that took a little bit of editing because we had some camera issues, but hey, you know.
It was about an hour long, no?
It was about 50 minutes.
Yeah,
about 50 minutes.
Good, because there was a few hiccups, so he did good putting it together.
Yeah,
there's a good amount of views already on it.
Is there?
I
haven't.
It's like 400.
Oh wow! Was that on Facebook or was that on YouTube?
Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So you guys are posting them both places?
Yeah, we're posting them both on Facebook and YouTube. But before we get any further, my name is AJ Vasquez with the YPN. And Joe Stephanie's calling me.
My name is Patty Vasquez with YPN.
I am Moe Jewad with Keller Williams.
Right on. So yeah, Mo, how's it going? How'd you get? Let's just dive right into it. Like, how did you get into real estate, and what's your background? What's your story on everything? So
where do you start? Yeah.
So I actually, for the longest time, I was not in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I attended Merced College and then UC Merced. My major was actually in biology.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with what I do now, right?
I would never expected that.
After, when I was about to graduate, I decided that it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I had a friend at the time that I met at UC Merced, and he had graduated about a year before me, I believe, with a business degree.
Okay.
And he did not know what he was going to do, and was just kind of bouncing off different ideas, and we decided to start buying cars and selling them on Craigslist.
Oh, okay.
Just like as a side hustle.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, and that was before he graduated. When he graduated, there was a place on Main Street that was vacant, and the landlord wanted, I think it was like $700 at the time.
Rent. Oh, wow.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2012.
Okay,
2012?
Yeah, 2012.
Pretty cheap, yeah.
So the car business at that time hadn't recouped from the recession yet.
Right. Yeah, that was
so that place had shut down, and it was empty for a while. So he wanted $700. The place was thrashed inside.
Really?
Right. So we kind of spent some time and put some work into it. Spent many late nights there.
Cleaned it up
to make it presentable. Right. Looking back now, it still looked horrible after we opened up, but it was a start.
Yeah.
So we started that in 2012, almost 2013. I still had a year left. He had finished, and then so he was gonna. It was at that point when I decided that once I graduated, I was not gonna continue on with what I had majored in.
Yeah.
And then he started. In 2012, I graduated, and then I kind of jumped in with him. But at the time when we started, we each had. I remember using my financial aid check to contribute into the business.
So you said I'm not paying school
and
today.
some credit cards and stuff like that. So that's literally how we started. We pretty much had close to nothing.
That's pretty genius, though. You think about it, like you save your financial aid money to start a business.
Yeah.
How many people?
We started. I think it was like with 6 or 7 cars. They were old, beat up.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that is a huge risk that you took on that, and
yeah,
it paid off, right?
Yeah, it did. It went pretty well. So we kind of built up from there. I think it was by time about 5 years later. Maybe no, I'd say maybe 7 years later.
Okay.
We were actually, I think, number 3 in the entire between Bakersfield and Modesto as far as sales and used car sales.
Really? So number 3 in that region from Bakersfield
Bakersfield
to where?
Modesto.
To Modesto.
Yeah.
That's a huge region.
Yeah,
so.
It is. Yeah. So we kind of we jumped really quick. And it's still there. I'm not necessarily involved in the day-to-day operations, but it's still doing really good. But at the time, while we were in the business, I started to do some flips in houses. That's kind of how I got into real estate.
Okay.
I started looking on Zillow, and it's funny because seeing the agents that were on Zillow,
back then,
I remember them right now. Right, they were like popping up there a bunch. So I would call those agents. I remember, I think Cheryl Tingy was one of the ones that I would call. Yeah, and then Randy Hare. That's how I got to know Randy. But I bought a flip actually on Orchard Lane. in Merced. In central Merced. And I remember it actually ended up being a really bad flip.
Wow.
I lost like $20-something thousand. We ended up spending way too much money. I mean, we made it look too nice for the area, I would say.
I get
It looked like a model home. I get a big stainless steel hood coming down in the kitchen and stuff. So we spent way too much money on it. But, you know, a lot of people would think, you know, if they take a hit or lose money on their very first flip, you would think they'll walk away. I doubled down after that. I went and bought 2.
Oh, wow.
As soon as we closed on that one. And it started, you know, I started doing really good. I flipped a lot of homes. I probably, between apartments and houses, today I probably renovated over 100 units.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
So I ended up getting my real estate license because I wanted to have access to viewing more properties.
Gotcha.
Instead of waiting for different agents to contact me and stuff like that.
That's fine.
It wasn't necessarily to save anything on commissions or anything, because I don't really list my own properties. I like to have that buffer between me and the buyer. So I ended up getting my license, having access to more properties.
Gotcha. Also streamlines it faster being your own realtor, right?
It does, yeah. So at the time, people were being very aggressive on. So it's like you had to get your offer in like within the same day or the next day if you wanted to.
And what year was this about?
This was probably in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, 2015, 2016. Around that time.
Trying to remember what the market looked like.
Yeah, it was coming back.
It was coming back.
Yeah.
We were starting to
recession a little bit.
Things were looking good around that time.
For Merced, let's just get that for Merced. That was starting to come back around.
Yeah.
Like other places were, other industries and other cities were coming back a lot faster. But like in Merced, it's like
it took time. It took a big.
They take a little bit. Yeah, Merced is more of like a dairy farm town, and it's still like
agriculture.
Yeah, it's more agriculture and stuff.
And
like
it did take a bigger hit than your average city in California during the recession, right? Merced kind of crashed really hard.
Merced typically does that when they say, "Hey, a recession's on the way." We're more than likely already in the recession in Merced compared to the rest of the state.
Yeah.
When do you decide to open your own brokerage?
So, I believe it was 2017.
So like a couple years into having having your license.
Yeah, probably less. Honestly, I don't think I even had it for 2 years at the time.
Wow.
But I wanted to kind of go do my own thing, and I met a broker out of Fresno. Okay. He was helping me get hard money loans on the flips at the time.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I was dabbing into sales as a realtor at the same time, and I got really close to the broker out of Fresno. He became a friend, and he told me, he's like, "Hey, you know what? I'll let you use my broker's license. Just get your own spot, get a small office, so you have somewhere to work out of home, and I'm not going to charge you anything." So it meant I would be able to keep all my commission.
Oh,
right,
awesome!
Yeah.
So I decided to do that, and at the time, I remember I was at an open house and I met Norma Lopez.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I kind of told her what I was going to do, and we kind of seen eye to eye and everything like that. I was like, you want to come on board, and maybe we could, bring on a couple of agents and go from there, right?
Team. Yeah.
And we opened up the office, and the agents just started flowing in like crazy.
Really?
At the time, I was just an independent. It wasn't Keller Williams.
Right.
It was a property team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You still have property.
Keller Williams property team, yeah. So it was just property team at the time. But we started getting a bunch of agents, seasoned agents too.
Really?
That were signing up with us.
Why do you think was that?
I think, at the time looking back, Merced wanted something different.
Okay.
Right? It was, it's Century 21 Salvadori was still existed
I remember
at the
that
time.
They used to be on GN. Oh God, what's that? They used to be on the corner of, over by Rayleigh's. Yeah, I remember. I remember that being the biggest one at that time.
Yeah, it was pretty big. And then there was Century 21 Salvador, and I kind of feel like it just happened where that brokerage was kind of phasing out because a couple years after I was in business, it sold, and then It was timing. A lot of times there's things happen when it's the right time, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Coldwell Banker also, Lauren Ganella was selling at the same time to someone that was from out of town, and a lot of agents, they don't like that.
Right.
I believe the buyer was out of Santa Maria.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? I remember when Scott Oliver was the real estate agent that helped us buy our first house.
Yeah.
So, and I remember him going through that whole transition from like Ganella, Coldwell Banker. I can't remember which one he was. I think it was Ganella.
Yeah, he was a manager.
With Ganella, right? Yeah. He was with Ganella, and then that's when he went and opened up Berkshire shortly after that.
Yeah. So it was just there hadn't been anything new for a while in Merced, and I think that's what it is. It was the right time.
Yeah, sometimes that's all it is. It's just timing. Timing is everything.
Timing. A good team, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Norma Lopez was in the business for a really long time. And she, at the time, so she has a big passion for real estate.
She does.
She has a passion for real estate. She actually committed to run the brokerage and let sales go.
Really?
Yeah.
Which was huge.
Yeah.
Because your average broker, typically the manager, also competes with the agents. I mean, so that's typically what happens. She decided she was going to just completely focus on the agents and let sales go. And that was a really big thing. That was agents, the agents loved that. Every time we would sit with someone that was in the business and seasoned and already producing.
And so you guys opened property team, then it became KW?
Correct, yeah. So after a while, the agents started to come to me and they wanted more of they wanted tech. They wanted a CRM, they wanted websites, they wanted different tools. And I remember spending some money on a CRM and a website to kind of build it. And I quickly figured out that it was just like a small drop in a bucket. It's very expensive to build that stuff and keep it up to date, right? Because it shifts so much, right? So it's at that point when I decided that I needed to franchise with the company and piggyback off of the tools that they put in place. And just spending some time, and Keller Williams was not in town, and they're huge on their technology.
Yeah.
Spend tons and tons of money every year on enhancing their technology. So I just decided to go that route. And then that gave us even a way bigger push after that.
Yeah.
Because it's a big brand. Everyone knows Keller Williams, right?
Correct.
So it went from reaching out to agents and trying to convince them to join us to agents calling us and wanting to come on board because they were already waiting for Keller Williams to come to town.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So that gave us a huge push.
So how many realtors are under your brokerage?
A lot.
So there's some that are in town here in the area, and I believe that's anywhere between 110 to 120. It fluctuates, right? We always have people coming on, and always have people moving out of the area or moving to other brokerages and stuff like that. But we have some out of the coast, and Gilroy, and a team out of Carmel, and so I'd say combined we're probably at about 180.
Oh, okay.
Right now.
So that's like Merced, Atwater, Gilroy, all these other
correct.
Total combined.
Yeah, but locally out of Merced County, I want to say probably anywhere between 110 and 120.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good size.
For our area, that's pretty big. I mean, I look at other Keller Williams brokerages out of the Bay Area, and they have 300-400 agents.
Wow.
But it's
there's a lot more
people.
It's denser in those bigger populations.
When do you decide to get into development and all that, building and all that?
There was a time, I'm trying to remember, I think it was in 2000, so we are probably in about 2020, 2021, where
perfect timing.
Where I was still doing flips throughout this whole time. Right. I never stopped doing that. So around 2020, I was struggling to find more flips. When COVID hit, they became really hard to find. So that's
why I said perfect timing.
Yeah. So the only way to keep the business going and that aspect was to go ground up, to go construction, to build new homes. So that's when I decided to go that route. But that's definitely been a roller coaster.
Why?
That side of the business is very tough. It's very hard to learn. Now because now you're dealing with the city and you're dealing with the county,
permits,
different zoning and permits, and now the architect is coming into play and the engineers, and it's a totally different ballgame. But I mean, it's a great business to be in, obviously.
Yeah.
I love it. I love doing it. So I did that for a while, and then that's when I decided to kind of join forces and with Robert Delina.
How did that happen?
I'm trying to remember, because Robert's always he's been doing loans for a really long time.
Yeah. Right.
And I had a superintendent that I had to lay off that was helping run the job sites and stuff like that. And, me and Robert were getting closer, became friends and stuff like that. So I decided to reach out to him to see, if he would be interested in jumping into that field. And I believe at the beginning he's like, no, I've been way established already and this and that. So, and I kept bugging him about it, and finally he bit, and we started our construction management company that's gonna start handling all the building.
Right.
And that's been great. That's been great. It's been doing really good.
Yeah, change is hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Like,
it is.
So it really is. So
you're a broker, a realtor, a car salesman, a developer, a father, a husband.
Yeah, and we manage over 600 properties out of our property
management.
Yeah, property management has definitely been interesting.
You are busy. So we had to take your cell phone away from you for this podcast.
Yeah.
We had to take your cell phone away
that's why
from
I'm fidgeting right now.
He's like dying to get to it.
Who's calling me, right?
What do you look for when you go and look at a property to flip? What do you look for?
It's all about the spread, right? What you're able to buy the property for versus what it would comp at once you've rehabbed it. I don't look for anything specific. I've done it all. I mean, there's houses that were complete. I'll tell you guys, there was a house I bought, and this house, it's the craziest story. We bought a house. I've had a lot of crazy stories doing flips.
Oh, let's
right?
hear a couple of them.
So there was one that I bought, and we went into this house, and it smelled really bad.
Oh gosh.
Like really bad. So, and I'm thinking, okay, they probably had dogs in the house or cats or something like that. But it was as much as we tried, we could not get rid of the smell.
Really?
Right? So I'm like, I've dealt with the dogs and cats and stuff like that being in the house, and it would always work, right? We'd get rid of it, do some things, and it'd be gone. This would just not go away. It would go away for a day, and then it would get hot, and it would come right back, right?
Oh God.
So we found out, the landscaper, as we were rehabbing the house, because we finished the house, thought the smell went away, and then end up tearing the sheetrock off because it was not gone, right?
Oh my God.
So we had to treat
Was it on a raised foundation?
It was not.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, was there something underneath the house?
No. So this is what happened. The landscaper came by, and he told us at the time that there was ducks that were always in the house.
Ducks?
Really?
There was ducks that lived in the house with
inside with the owners.
With the owners, and that was just a different smell that was much harder to get rid of, that we weren't used to dealing with. So
I didn't.
I would never think of bringing it. No.
I would have expected chickens over ducks before ducks.
So there's ducks, multiple ducks. He said that were always in the house, and that's what the smell was.
That's crazy.
So that was the first.
Were you guys able to get rid of the smell eventually?
We were after. Yeah, we tore the sheetrock off and we treated it, and the smell went away eventually. It was very frustrating.
No, I bet.
And another one, there was actually Marcus Rodriguez had listed a house for us, and we were in escrow at the time, and there was an inspector that went under the house, and he found an entire set of bones that were perfectly laid out. It was a raised floor foundation. And so Marcus calls me and he says, "Hey, I'm at the house. There's a bunch of cops. And the whole street is shut down with yellow tape. I need you to come right now. They found bones."
Wow.
So I drive over, And as soon as I get there, I'm like, Marcus, I took his sign out and I'm like, put this inside your car. I do not want this kind of publicity for Keller Williams. So he put it in his trunk. And then we went in and there was a bunch of cops and they were waiting for the coroner to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy.
And we had to remove some of the subfloor inside the house.
Right.
So that the coroner can walk in and see it and not have to go under the house.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he walks in and he literally spent 30 seconds in there and walked out right away. He's like, that's a cow.
A cow?
Are you serious?
There was a whole set of bones from a cow that were under the house. So I'm guessing it was there at one point before they built the house and it kind of came up. Or so I don't know how it ended up.
Okay.
So that's
crazy. But you had to go. Yeah, that's a lot of work too.
Oh my god, that's.
So yeah, the flipping isn't always fun. Right? There's a lot of frustration.
Luckily, it was a cow.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were able to continue on with the escrow and it closed and everything. So it was fun.
That's good. Can you imagine buying a house? It's like, hey, yeah, we had to delay escrow because we found some bones underneath the house.
Wow, that's crazy. Do you have an assistant?
I do. I have multiple staff that work out of the office, right? And everyone kind of, whether on the construction side or the brokerage side, I have staff that helps me. And so actually, Verna helps me on Keller Williams with my with some of my transactions.
Cool.
We have multiple transaction coordinators that help the agents, and then I have Tiffany and Rocio that help us in the construction side. And there's staff out of the property management company, Chris and Vanessa, they help us a lot, and we have Kim. There's 2 property management offices actually, one out of Turlock and one in Merced. So we stay busy.
So you have offices Merced, Atwater, Turlock, Carmel.
We have a team out of Carmel, yeah. So we have Gilroy, Los Baños, Turlock, Merced, Atwater, so all over.
Man,
how do you manage all that? I mean, obviously
I put in a lot of hours, right? Yeah, it all comes down to the team, right?
Yeah.
So the team, I would say my strongest point is putting together a strong team.
Okay. What do you look for in for a strong team and people? I mean,
usually when I sit down and look, you could tell who wants to actually put in the time and work, right?
Get the work done.
And who's passionate about what they're gonna what job they're gonna take, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I think, passion is where it comes in. Like I said, like with Norma, she's passionate about real estate and she loves helping people, right?
She does.
So she does really good at it. It's passion. Sometimes you sit down and you interview someone and you can tell that they're just wanting the job because they need a job, right? That's not the right person to hire. Right. So. And I mean, at least for myself, I can feel that, right away within the first.
There's a vibe that you can feel with it. Yeah.
Right away within the first couple.
They just need a paycheck, and they're there for a paycheck.
So I mean, if they're there for the paycheck, they might do the job well, but it's gonna fizzle off really quickly. They're gonna figure out that they don't like it, and they're gonna either stick around and not do the job right, or they're gonna leave.
They won't. Right? Usually, people that are not passionate won't stick around when things hit the fan. That's when they jumped. People that are passionate stay through.
Yeah, and I mean that happens. Like, I mean, I was at Travis Credit Union 4 years, loved it. Some things happened, I fell out of love with it. Went on to the next one and went to marketing, and marketing. I wasn't a perfect fit for that. I realized that, and that's okay. Like, if you're not a perfect fit for that, that's okay.
Yeah,
but like,
switch.
You just switch. I mean, things happen like that for a reason, and that's how I ended up back into lending. Is because I really liked the lending side of banking. I didn't like so much like the transactional, like your deposits, withdrawals, like account compromises, and all that. So that
it's just repetitive stuff.
Oh, it was so repetitive, and I'm like, for the first couple years, this is cool, but like after a while, it's like, okay, I'm getting tired of this. So
but there's some people that love routine, right? They want to just show up, do the same thing they're used to doing. Right?
Don't get me wrong, I do like routine, but when it became like very tedious and like people getting taken advantage during COVID, like that's when I was like, okay, I gotta, for my mental health, I gotta get out of this, because this is not like, because like there were so many people getting scammed during 2020, and it was like taking a toll on me, because I felt bad, because I wanted them to make sure, like, hey, look, you need to talk to us before you even talk to anybody else. Like, if you're not sure, hang up the phone, call your local branch, stuff like that. So that's a a lot of what happened like during COVID for me. Like I didn't mind doing the work, but it was like seeing people get taken advantage of. That's what really killed me. So, but.
You're also part of the board.
Yeah.
I am.
Past president from 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been part of the board right now. I think we have a really good board right now. Solid people. Listen, to get a job done right, whatever business you're in or whatever job you need to get done, it all comes back to the team that's put 100%. Together, right? A team together, everyone achieves more, right?
That is a good one.
So, and I'm a firm believer of that. And any business you start, it all comes. I don't care how good of a business person you are. If you don't have the right team around you, you're gonna fail, right? I think our board has gotten a lot done, and there's a lot of things are going the right way. And I'm not saying that it wasn't good before, right? But we're definitely growing and evolving. Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think we have a really good team right now on the board, and it's we're getting a lot of good things done. So I've been on the board. It's a passion of mine. I love being part of the association. I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of good people that have become really good friends. And I would encourage anyone that's getting into the business to get involved in the association in some form, right? I mean, you obviously can't jump on the board right off the bat,
right? But it takes time. But I mean, at least
YPN's a good place to start.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place to start. Yeah, it's a wonderful place to start. Yeah, that's one of those things. It's like, man, I really want to like give back and do stuff like that, but I was like, I don't know how to go about that. Hector came up. I said it many times, but Hector came up to me. He's like, "Oh, come on, join YPN." I was like, "No, I don't know, man." Like, so it was like a lot of Hector like reeling me in. Yeah, reeling me in. And, he had to like bait the hook, and I took it, and we ran with it.
It'll enhance your business. No, you're working around a lot of realtors now, right?
So, I'm working around with a lot of realtors. I mean, I think our group message has like 17 people in it. So
people recognition too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like we're always like, hey, what do you think about this? Like even like Francisco and Casey, we talk about like, hey, what do you do different? Like, okay, what don't we have? We brainstorm on things like that too, which is nice. So and obviously we all work for 3 different companies. So, but it's a collaboration that makes us better, makes them better.
That's the nice thing about this industry. We all are, and I say this to so many people, but we're competitors, right?
But we all
work together.
Yeah, and we all have the same goal.
We all have the same goal. We work together. We work for different companies, but it's we all meet together.
Yeah,
and we're able to help the community together also.
Oh
right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's funny because majority of the industries, people that are competitors really don't see eye to eye, and they don't join forces.
They don't work together.
No, but in in our industry, we've come together and we make a lot of push to help the community. We help each other in our personal business, right, and sales and stuff like that. And I see a lot of agents that will give pointers and help each other out that don't even work for the same company.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like Casey said it best. It's like it always goes like timing the market. No, it's not timing the market. It's time in the market. So I was like, man, I can use that in stuff that I pitch and stuff like that. So it's like little things like that will make it go further.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. Yeah. That's helped me a lot working along older age. I've learned a lot from Ashley, Hector, many of them. Ashley's really good.
Yeah, Ashley's
I know
really
you
awesome.
know that. But.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is like, and technically you guys are going after the same business, right?
We are.
But yet, we still help each other.
Exactly.
Do.
So a lot of industries are not like that.
Yeah, so it kind of reminds me of like...
It's very team effort.
Yeah. So when I was in the boating industry, like we're all competing to get them to come to our brand. When in the real estate, it's like, okay, well, I'm competing to get the client, but if the client goes to them, I know that client could eventually come to me at a listing or like stuff like that. So that's like for the real estate side of things, that's why you need to have that great communication, even if you're not in the same industry. I mean, you're in the same industry, but not the same office.
Yeah.
So you guys need to have
You still end up working with each other. On
absolutely. Yeah. So exactly. So like,
let's all get along.
Like with the boating industry, you guys don't work together at all.
No.
Like,
and a lot of industries are like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Auto industry. You're talking about like. I wouldn't say so much like credit unions and banking. Obviously, they're going to want that, but they're going to want to make sure that they have something from you.
Yeah.
So I can kind of like they kind of cooperate more than your average industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. It's like, real estate and loan officers and anybody in the industry, they're all working together somehow, some way. Eventually, they will work together somehow.
Yeah,
some way.
and a good example is the fundraisers, right? That we do every year.
Yeah.
Everyone's working together on the same table, and we all we're from different companies, and we're competitors technically, right? We might be going to the same listing appointment, but we come together and put together these fundraisers, and all that money is going back to the community.
Yep.
No one's going to benefit from it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So last year we ended up raising, it was $128,000.
Wow.
Really?
Gross, yeah, at last year's fundraiser.
That's a lot.
And it's everyone put in so much time and effort.
Yeah.
To put together that event.
I'll tell you what, my feet were tired after that. I was on my feet the entire time, bartending and stuff like that. But I had a blast, and it was so much fun. All the desserts that went. I think the highest one was $2,900?
Yeah, $2,900.
$2,900 for a dessert. So I mean that's all towards the association, live auction, the auctioneers, like everything that we saw. Like I saw like the backside of like, hey, this is all the hard work that got put into that.
It's
so it was
kind
of
a nice and fun way of getting people involved to give back. That's the best way to put it. We give back, but we make it fun. We don't make it boring. We don't make it, tedious or. Yeah,
and then I was at an event the following Saturday at McSwain for the school, and they had another fundraiser, dessert, all that, and they were like the people at my table. They're like, "Hey, we know that you were at the gala last week. What was the most expensive?" How do you compare? I was like, "Well, you guys just sold a lemon bar thing for $2,700. I think you guys are doing okay." Yeah, lemon bars for $2,700.
Was there a lot of people there?
Yeah, there was a decent amount of people there.
Yeah.
We had somebody crash into a light fixture and knocked out all the power for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
Oh, that's
so we were without power, no running water. So it kind of sucked because when you had to go to the bathroom, you couldn't wash your hands. So it was kind of like that part kind of sucked because it was
interesting.
Yeah, it was a little bit interesting. But the second the power went back on, I ran right to the bathroom and washed my hands. So.
Do you have any new projects that you're working on?
We do. We have a subdivision we're getting ready to break ground on next week to put in the roads.
That's exciting.
On El Redondo and Cardella, over there at the Yosemite.
Yeah.
So there was D.R. Horton was right across the street. I think they finished their subdivision.
Oh, good for them.
A couple of months ago. But we are moving equipment there next week. So that's right around the corner. Been working on the maps and everything almost for 2 years now.
Really?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
That's a long time.
That's a lot of time for that project.
Yeah, and that was on the shorter side too. A lot of them will take 3 to 4 years. If you have to bring it into the city, if it's in the county limits and you have to annex it into the city, that alone takes a couple of years. Man. And then a couple of years to put the maps together and stuff like that. It takes a lot of time, and that's why we have a housing crisis in California. Right,
a lot of red tape there. Yeah, a lot of red tape to break, and
but we're there now, and we're gonna put in our roads, and we're hoping to start building at the beginning of the year.
Nice.
There's 100. It's 3 phases, but between all 3 phases, there's 185 lots.
That's a lot.
So it's a big project.
That's a good one.
Hoping the economy goes in our favor.
It will.
We are hoping so too.
Regardless, we'll be fine.
Without getting into too much detail, yes, we're on the same page for that one. So yeah, that's
the project that's coming up for us right now.
Okay, good.
That's awesome. Yeah. So when do you think that hopefully, God willing, everything goes according to plan? Like when do you think you would complete all 3 phases of that?
It all depends on how the market is, right? I mean, we're gonna build. We'll probably start with 10 homes, right?
Okay.
We're gonna start building them, before they're sold or anything like that. We're gonna start with 10 homes, and it however it goes from there. If we feel like the sales are there, then we're gonna keep pushing. Mm-hmm. And we could probably knock 60, 70 homes, a year, if the market's good, right? If it's not, then you're gonna build whatever the market's asking for, right? Yeah, the demand. So it's and we're kind of in a weird time right now. There's a lot of unknown about next year, right? You watch and hear different things and read different things, and and sometimes they're on opposite sides of the extreme, right? There's people that say next year is going to be great because the rates are going to go down. Mm-hmm. And then there's people that make it seem like the world's going to come. As far as the real estate market.
So I'm hoping that.
Adapt.
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. We're going to have to adapt. I think I've made a couple videos on this, like we're humans, like, things can go south really fast, but it's like, what are you going to do after it goes south? Are you going to crawl up in a ball, or are you going to stand up and fight?
Right?
Yeah, you got to stand up and fight.
And you adjust.
So, and you brought up the acronym for team, together everyone achieves more. So for me, like, I like to use FAIL. Mm-hmm. First attempt is learning.
Yeah.
First attempt is learning. So you're going to fail a lot.
Everyone fails at some point. Yeah.
Everybody's going to fail. But it's like, it's a first attempt is learning. If you keep failing and you're not adapting to your failures, then you're going to have to go internally and say, hey, what can I do better? So, and it's like...
Yeah, as long as you're able to adapt and pivot and change as it's, with time, on the business side, you'll be fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when we were going back to the car business, at one point, we thought we were going to close the business, right? Mm. Because it was so hard to start with such little capital. And then we just figured out some things that we had to change, and it just kind of made a complete turnaround.
That's awesome,
there, right? So you gotta be able to adapt.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And there are times where, like, some people will get stuck in a rut and they'll keep going in the same path without wanting to do any changes, and that's when you have to think, okay, look, if I keep going down this route, I'm going to be toast. So it's like, you need to make some type of change, and change is, although scary at times, it's
a lot of people don't like change.
No, I honestly,
change is the only constant in life.
Yeah, I love change.
I don't like change. Like, I don't like going to do the change, but once I do the change, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So, like, I've gone through a couple rebrandings, like, with myself, like, with just like my Instagram handle. Like, it used to be AJ does mortgage loans. I'm like, okay, this sounds like so generic. I need to stick out a little bit. And that's, I'm like, go to Sacramento, and then that's how the game lender became a thing. So it's like, I'm adapting to what I think is right. I'm trying not to get stuck in a rut, because if I get stuck in a rut, then nothing's going to get achieved. So I'm at that point where it's like, okay, I need to make a change for myself to keep the business going.
Yeah. So I feel like we're in a time where change needs to happen a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Because we're in a really weird time right now. And there's, like, so many things that we're going through right now, whether it's politics or the economy or, the real estate industry, and there's so many different things that are changing, and you have to be able to adapt to that change, or else you're going to fall behind.
Basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
How busy you are?
Well, I like to, whatever time I have, I like to spend it, with family, with my kids, and
that's good.
My wife try to, go out whenever we can, but it's hard right now. I'm putting a lot of time into the business, hoping that everything goes the way it's supposed to go, and I'm able to, hopefully retire, sooner than later.
Right.
And I don't know if I don't want to say I'm going to retire.
I like to say financially retire.
I want to be able to work when I want to work. Right now I'm working because I have to work.
Right.
And that's the difference.
It's a financial retirement.
Right. And I feel like if you're working because you want to work, it's just going to become funner.
Yeah.
Right. And you'll probably do even better.
Yeah.
Right. But right now, whatever time I do have, I definitely go straight home and spend that time. But I'm out of the house really early. I get home really late.
What time do you start?
So I'm usually out between 6:30 and 7.
Okay.
Right, and then I get home between 8 and 8:30. That's put in a lot of hours.
13-hour day, man.
I'm recently committed to going home a little earlier, that because my kids go to sleep earlier now because they're going to school. Right.
Okay. Well, how old are your kids?
6 and 4.
Oh, okay.
So my daughter's 6 years old and my son's 4.
Okay.
So
I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. So
yeah. So when they're younger, they're not really necessarily going to school, so it doesn't matter what time they go to sleep.
Yeah.
Now we're making sure that they go to sleep early. So, I got to make sure I get home a little earlier to spend some. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we take our boys to daycare, so we still kind of, like, get them to sleep a little early. So I think my youngest goes to bed around 7:30. My oldest goes to bed about 8:30. So.
It's different, right? Again, it's another thing that you have. It's change, right?
Yeah.
And you have to switch, but spending, now my kids are the ones that are keeping me in check now. So I have to make sure I get home earlier because they start asking about me and stuff like that. So before it was just like, my wife gets it. She knows I'm putting in the time. I don't necessarily like to put in a lot of hours, right?
Right.
But it's kind of the time where I feel like it's kind of right now is the best time to do that, right?
Yeah, I think especially if your kids are young, it's the best time to put the best time in at that time. So when they get a little bit older and they start to remember things, that you can be there for when they're starting to remember things.
They'll remember. Mine are teens, and they remember probably after they were 5 if I was or wasn't.
See, I don't remember anything when I was 5, so that's I'm still good with my kids right
now. but no, I mean, my kids do. So yeah.
I do remember things from when I was 5. I remember when my first day of kindergarten, I was scared. I have no idea who these people are. I mean, I think I knew one person. Luckily, I knew one person.
Yeah.
And the thing that I remember the most is my dad coming to pick me up from school. So that's he works some oddball hours and everything like that. But he made sure that it was either my dad or my mom was picking me up. So they always made sure that somebody was picking us up.
Yeah.
We did go to daycare. We went to Bear Country out there. Shout out to Miss Regina. I still remember you from then. So, but yeah, so I remember going to daycare, but they were always there to pick us up from either daycare or from the school. And somebody was always either dropping us off at daycare, but they were always there, made sure that we were there on time. But I just remember my dad rolling up and he was like, "Hey, what's up, bud?" And I just ran up to him. So, I mean, I think that's my earliest memory that I have, and I was 5, so they'll remember and that's 31 years later. I still remember that. I still remember that part to this day. I remember going in scared. Don't remember how the day went, but I just remember waiting, looking, being scared, and then as soon as I saw my dad, I lit up. So, and I say that now because I see when I come home, and my kids are only 3 and 2. But they go, "Dad's home," and it's the highlight of my day is when I hear I hear that, it's just oh man,
it makes everything go away, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Shitty day that you just
So it's like a meme that I saw. It was it's a guy starting off with a full charge, and then it's slowly going down. And he's getting home, and he's at the lowest bar. And the second that they see their kids, it shoots right back to full energy.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, dude, I love my boys too, and they're fun to mess with, and they mess with me too. So it's a joy.
Yeah. So you have 2 kids, you said?
Yeah,
and
we had a back to back.
2 kids.
16 and 13.
Yeah. So you're in the teens. Yeah. That's a tough time.
Oh, that's. I love you guys, but
I'm hoping I'm more available. Right now I'm 35 years old, right?
Okay.
So I'm hoping. When my daughter's in her teens, I'm going to be in my early 40s, and that's kind of the goal of
to be available.
It
makes a huge difference. I have a boy and a girl. For my daughter, my son's very independent. He's always been good on his own. We really don't worry about him. My daughter, she needs more.
Girls are a lot harder to see.
And I love you. And yeah, girls are more needy than boys.
Yeah, so originally
you said that, not me. So
I'm dealing with the teen at home.
You have a pass.
So So I hear boys are really I guess difficult in the very beginning stages, but once it gets past that, then it's just really easy. So we look back on it and obviously me and Erica, we both wanted we wanted a boy and we wanted a girl. So it was one of those things hey, and I wanted the boy to be at least the oldest. Just so it's older brother, don't mess with my younger sister type thing. And then we ended up both having both boys. We were a little sad at the time, and it's man, we really wanted a girl, and it's just it wasn't in God's plan for us. It wasn't God's plan for us to have a boy and a girl. It was God's plan to have us 2 boys. So
that's great.
As long as they're healthy, right?
Oh, 100%. They're 100% healthy, and I don't wish any changes or anything like that. It obviously it was God's plan for us to have 2 boys, and and honestly they're a lot like me and my brother, so it's kind of I see what they're doing and it's that was me and Phil, my brother Phil.
Yeah.
So and it's just one of those things. It's just man, I'm appreciative of what we have. I don't ever wish to change anything that has happened. So
do you want more kids?
I do. I have one coming actually in November.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Congratulations.
Yeah. I have.
Are you
So we're gonna
ready?
have a busy end of the year.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm nervous, right? I don't know what to expect, but there's gonna be like long nights.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Oh yeah.
My wife takes care of most of it, but still, you know, you wake up and then you struggle to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So and then you gotta wake up early,
Yeah.
go to work. That can't,
That's-
not, you know, that has to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
So-
least favorite part about having kids was sleeping on the sleeping in the
Living
hospital.
room?
No, in the
Oh,
hospital. Like the first couple days, it's like
it's
this
tough
sucks.
at the beginning.
It sucks.
It's really tough.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a lot better when they're like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, I think
right?
about 4 or 5 months isn't like when it like.
They have a routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get into a routine, and then it's just like the first night that they sleep throughout the whole night. You're like, what happened? Are they good? You're like, what's going on? Are they good? I think that's one of the funniest things like that I can remember, and like tell like new parents that are about. It's like, dude, it's gonna be funny. Like about month 4, month 5, they're not gonna wake up through the middle of the night. And you're gonna like panic. It's like they didn't wake me up, like type thing.
Yeah,
So.
it's good. It's easier now for me to be able to be around because we just moved. Right, I was living in Turlock for the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
And then moved to Atwater, so
It's closer.
it's closer. It's that commute just gives you more time. You know, you get home a little earlier and you can leave a little bit later, right?
That 20-30 minute drive makes
a difference. Well, it used to be 20-30 minutes when I first moved. Now there's always traffic on the 99 coming in from the, you know, so whether there's an accident or construction.
Oh yeah, coming that
it's
early.
taking
Yeah,
a lot longer.
Yeah, that early. Yeah.
So after a while, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, when I was going to Stan, I strategically made my classes at certain times so I wouldn't hit that traffic.
Yeah.
I think I hit like traffic like one time, and I was leaving like an hour early because I had a test.
That was
Thank
a while
God.
back. The traffic was better a while back.
Yeah.
I feel like it changed a lot after COVID. There's a
did.
lot more people that moved to the area, so it got
we
busier.
have more people for traffic.
Yeah, so going to Turlock wasn't too bad. It was like sometimes it was coming back from Turlock was bad.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was like 2014 and 2015 is when I was at Stan State. So that was like, I remember like there was an accident. I was like, emailed my professor. I was like deadlocked. I was like, I had to email my professor. I was like, hey, I'm in traffic right now. I have no idea if I'm going to make it to my test on time. Like, and I was like, he's like, what time did you leave? I was like, an hour ago, and I'm still on my way. Like,
you've been. When did you get into the industry?
3 years ago.
3 years.
2021.
And you like it?
I love it.
That's good.
Yeah, I love it.
September of 22 is when I got fully licensed, but I was doing loans
To Travis.
with Travis at 2017, and we didn't have to be licensed, like fully licensed at that time.
Okay.
So they have like a different type of license for for credit unions and banks, like traditional credit unions and traditional banks compared to what I'm doing now.
And then you joined with Joe right off the bat.
So I took a year off from the banking industry. So, and I went to market for Centurion Boats, you know, and that was awesome when I was going to the events and stuff like that. But like some of the other stuff, like traveling was a big one. Why I wanted to get back out of that, like get out of that and do more home loans. So, I took my class in June of 22, failed the first time because that test is incredibly hard. The loan or the safe test, and then I passed 2 days before my youngest was born.
Nice.
So like August.
Good timing.
No, August 6th, I passed, and then that Tuesday he was born. Yeah.
When you got licensed, sorry.
So you've been with the same office since, right?
Yes, I've been under Joe's branch since then. So we were with American Financial Network. Things happened with that, and then we jumped over to Leader One. The entire branch jumped to Leader One.
But you were with him before it was Leader One.
Correct. Yeah, I was
okay.
with him when it was American Financial Network.
Yeah, I remember. Joe's aggressive.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember working a deal with the first deal I worked with Joe. I think the escrow ended up like 13 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the escrow officer was from out of town because it was a house in Southern California.
Oh, okay.
And she called me and she's like, "This is too fast." I was like, "Hey, let's go. We got to get it done."
Hey, you know what?
Right?
That's like one of my pitches too. It's like, do you want this deal done fast?
Or
like,
no.
that's like, dude, we can get this done in 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
we're wanting it to get to the point where we're waiting on TRID.
Yeah.
10 days. We want to get deals done in 10 days. That's what he's talking about. Like, and he wants to expand the team more to where we can get those deals done in 10 days. Or we're waiting for Trid to say, okay, yeah, you can fund the house. Like, that's where he wants to get it to, is in 10 days.
Those are the good lenders. The best lenders I've worked with are able to close within like 14 days or less.
Yeah, so on average, 14 to 15 days is for us. So, and I think that's including Saturdays and Sundays. Like, getting that done. Yeah, so it's like we want to get it done. And it's like, and it's not so much that we're wanting to get it done just to collect a paycheck. We want to get it done so our clients can get in the house.
Yeah, before something happens or anything like that, right?
Absolutely.
There's things that throw off a deal last minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's like, especially with like new builds, you just never know what's going to happen with new builds. Yeah. So, and then I'm going through that right now, and hopefully that one's going to close, I hope, this week. So that's like, that one's been a work in progress, and it's like it made me take another perspective of like
new construction is definitely tough.
Yeah, so it's like the past couple that I've done that were new construction, those went smoothly. So knowing that how difficult this one was, and it's not so much my fault or anything, or it's just like cities involved, everything accumulated to where
that's what I'm saying. That's what's bad about new construction. You're working with the city, the county, the engineers, architects. It's all, everyone has to pull it together to get it done. Yeah.
Luckily, both realtors cool with everything that's going on. The buyer's cool. That's the main thing. And how, like, having that line of communication with the buyer, and it's like, hey, look, we're doing everything that we can. We've been clear to close since August. It is what it is. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time and when it's going to happen. So, but so it's all about, like, for us on the lending side, it's like now we got to like farm the refi side of things. I just got a call today. He's like, hey, what are the interest rates at? And I was like, we got you at a 6 3/4. We think we're going to get you at a 6 1/8. It's going to save you about $160. And then she's like, well, I thought I got this letter that's going to say it's going to save me $1,000. I was like, what does the payment say on that? $2,200. I'm like, that is principal and interest only. I can tell you that right now. So that's how they hook you, is like, oh, I can get it at this price. And then when they call, they're just trying to get the call.
I think you'll see a lot more of that, at the first quarter of next year.
Yeah, I think so too.
Rates will come down a little bit more.
I think so too.
We're hoping.
Yeah, God willing, everything starts to come down a little bit.
Yeah. When you got licensed, when you got into real estate, was it before it was after we had to take the test, right? So 20.
Oh yeah, I haven't been licensed that long. I definitely had to take the test. But no, I'll be honest. I passed my so I took the regular real estate exam and then the broker's exam.
Which one's harder? Is it the same?
From what I understood, it's the same but more questions.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right.
So you go from like 50 to like 150. No, I don't know. How many?
I think it was like 100 to 150 or something like that.
Okay.
But I got lucky. I'm not trying to say I'm smart or anything like that. I passed both times from the first time. How, I don't know. I remember when I was definitely a lot more confident when I took my broker's exam, right?
Because you had already been.
Yeah, exactly. You already have the experience.
And I passed that from the first time I took it. But with my real estate exam, I had no idea, what they were talking about. So I took it. And I remember I was about to get up because, like, there's no way I'm passing this exam, right? I'm wasting my time at this point. So I was going to get up and just leave. But then I was like, you know what? You woke up early. You drove to Fresno. Sit down and freaking finish the exam. And then they tell you to fold it and not open it until you're out. Yeah. So I remember opening it, and it said, congratulations. I have no idea how I think I just had luck on my side at that day, because there was a lot of tests a lot of questions where I was just
my God. Yeah, some of the questions was for even the lending side. So the first time I took it, I got a 70% on it, which is not passing for lending. Yeah. What is it percentage to pass for?
75.
Yes, it is 75 as well?
75. I passed the first try too.
Yeah.
But I studied really, really
I
hard.
didn't. That's my problem. I was working at that time. So I didn't really study. I remember taking crash course. The crash course helps a lot, so everyone should take the crash course. Yeah,
it does help out a lot, like even for the lending side of it too. So like, I took the crash course like down in LA, and then I retook the crash course like because we get free unlimited, so I did that one over the internet, like through Zoom and stuff like that. So the second go around, then I think it's called Anki Web. was like flashcards. So I was like studying the flashcards, study constantly, flashcard, and it was all on my phone. So luckily, so I was like sitting there like doing this,
going
through
the questions.
Yeah, and it's just like my wife was like looking at it. She's like, "How much time have you logged on that app?" Like, and it logged it, and I was like, I think it was like 6-7 hours a day is what I was studying.
Yeah, you definitely put in a lot of time. I did not put that much time into it.
Well, I didn't want to fail a second time, so I was like, I'm studying.
I knew a lot of stuff because I was in the business, not as an agent, right? But
flipping.
so I was around a lot of realtors, and I knew, going through different contracts and stuff like that when I was purchasing and selling and stuff like that. So I knew a lot of stuff.
Right. That does help out a lot too. So and me, I was kind of like going in blind because I kind of understood it, but I didn't like get into the nitty gritties of like everything and like knowing the laws and all that. So like, I mean, I know the laws now, but it's just like the thing that would trip me up the most is like, what year was this established? I'm like, are you year? I need to know what year it is. Like,
but a lot of schools like that, right? You just you don't use it out there in the real world.
Yeah, well, I mean, like history. Like I'm fascinated with history, so like history and like the years. Like when it comes to that, like that's a lot easier for me.
But like, do you use calculus a lot?
No.
On your day to day, you don't, right? I mean, I love math.
Former math major, man. Once I hit calculus 2, it's like, I don't know about this one. This one's gonna kick rocks, and that's like, and then
as soon as I graduate.
It's like, well, no, I didn't graduate with I wish I graduated with the degree in math or something like that, but. No, it just got to calculus 2, and I'm just like, we're doing derivatives, and it's like
I took calculus 2. I love math. I love calculus.
But like doing reverse derivatives, I'm like, what? You want me to do it backwards now? It's like, oh my god, like how am I gonna do that? So I think that was the thing that tripped me up the most was like the reverse derivatives, and I'm like, just me knowing that word is still.
You're gonna lose a lot of views talking too much about math.
Yes.
People are gonna start logging off.
Like statistics was super easy. Basic calculus, well, not basic calculus, but like calculus 1, failed the first time, passed it the second time. But like algebra is super easy, geometry is super easy. Like math, you know what's crazy? I can't even do like basic math anymore because of like calculus. It like ruined my brain. It burnt me out. Like you asked me.
You want to talk about that? I took organic chemistry.
Oh god,
that's tough.
That's
that was like on the list of things to do. I'm like, why do I need to take organic chemistry for communications?
You did that for biology?
I did do
that. Yeah. So that's all part of the science part of it. Yeah.
I have a friend whose major is biology. He actually teaches biology now. Yeah. That's crazy. All right, before we leave, what would you say to people that want to join YPN or the board? Or the industry in general?
So, for whoever's on the fence of whether they want to become licensed and get into this industry, I would definitely say, as long as you like to talk to people and you're social, definitely have to be social. I'd recommend this business to anyone, especially at a younger age, right? I think it's the easiest time to get into this industry is at a younger age. Why? Because it takes time to make money and have your first check. It's not like you don't get paid for just showing up to the office. You're not going to get an hourly check or a salary, right? So I would definitely recommend, and when you're at your youngest age before you have kids and a family, your expenses are a lot lower. You can have a roommate and whatever it is, and your expenses live off of top ramen if you really need to, right? So,
I mean, I can live off top ramen right now because I love top ramen.
Me too. So, but what I'm saying is I would recommend if you do want to get into this industry and you're young, right now it's the time, right? But you have to be very disciplined to get into this business, right? Because you don't have a boss that's going to call you and ask you why you haven't showed up yet.
Right.
So you have to be disciplined because really I've seen a lot of agents
come and go,
right? And the ones that show up to the office and treat it like a real job, right? And they're there every day and they put in the time, 90% of the time they're going to make it, right? But then you have people that come into the industry and they're at home and they think that sale is going to just come to them, right?
Right.
Or they expect that the office is going to send them a lead that they could just call real quick and show up to their house and list the house.
Honestly, that's how I thought it was going to be. It's like, oh, people are going to be walking in the front door. And they're like, that was a rude awakening in the first month. Like, oh, wait, they're not coming in.
But if you treat it like a real job, right, and you're young, it's a great industry. I mean, the sky's the limit, really. The sky's the limit. You can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've seen people make $300,000 a year, right, and they're young. That's a lot of money. I don't know of how many industries you can get into without a degree,
Yeah.
Right? And make that kind of money. You'll make whatever you're willing to put into it. Right?
Absolutely.
But other than, I mean, it's a great industry. I definitely recommend it to anyone. Right? And as far as getting involved with the association, I think that will better your business. Whether you're a lender or a realtor, or it'll definitely better your business. I would say get involved sooner than later. And, it's a ladder. You just climb, go up the ladder. YPN is definitely a good, area to start.
It is a good stepping stone.
It is. And if you want to get on the board, there's a lot of interest in the board now, which from what I hear, they used to not be interested in the board. They used to pretty much, have to find someone to convince them to join the board.
That's not the case anymore.
That's not the case anymore, which is good.
Good.
That's a good thing. But I would say get on YPN, and then from there, try to chair a committee, because your chances become a lot better once you've chaired a committee, if you want to be on the board, right?
Yeah.
Once you're on the board, for a couple of years, the next step would be to, become president-elect, and then from there, president. So, but going back to that, being involved with the association, I think definitely helps your business.
Yes.
So
Showing up to the MLS meetings every
100%.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm here every single time.
Take
I think I've
something away
missed.
always. Yeah.
I think I've missed 2.
Yeah.
Because one was at the fairgrounds and I didn't know it was at the fairgrounds.
You showed up over here.
I was like, it's at the fairgrounds. I was like, go into the office because I am not driving. I was like right at 8:45. I was like, I'm not making it. Not even gonna bother coming in.
Yeah.
There was that, and the other time I was in Mexico. Like I was on my way back from Mexico.
Yeah, it's good. You learn something every time you come to. I take something away. Almost all the meetings, the Tuesday meetings, I take something away from it.
Absolutely. Especially when I think it's cool that we get like the politicians coming in here and we get to ask them questions about like, hey, what are they going to do for the real estate side of things? So asking those questions to those and like knowing what they're going to do for us as a community is always great.
And where else do you get a chance to actually ask them a question, right? Outside of here.
You don't.
Absolutely. So we've had Adam Gray come in, also John Duarte. They're both running against each other. So it's like,
you get to see both sides.
Yeah, you get to see both sides of it. So I think it's really great. You get to ask the real questions without anybody interrupting.
You had the debate yesterday, which was
really that was awesome. Like, good luck to District 3. Like, all 3 of those candidates that we had in here were great. So it's like, it's like, who do you want? I can't remember the names, but I know Sayer was one. Cynthia was the other one. She was really great. And then the other guy, Harris. Yeah, Harris. All 3 of them really great, and they all pretty much have like the same exact view. Yeah, which is
it aligns with our views, right?
Yeah,
so our views,
it does. So it's like, so I'm like, man, no. Good luck to District 3 on like picking who you guys want. I mean, there's honestly, I think any one of those candidates are going to be.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
So whatever we end up with, I feel like we'll be fine.
It'll be a good.
Yeah. So. Let's talk about who we got coming on next.
We have Joe tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see who comes on tomorrow. I keep talking to him, and that dude's always busy. So we might switch it up a little bit. We might have Felix, Ernesto, and Vince in lieu of Joe and Andy Krodick. But we'll
Felix,
see.
Ernesto's from Gold Star, right?
No, Ernesto Cortez from Joe's. From
okay, and then Felix is also from Joe's.
Yeah, Felix Rodriguez, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Felix Rodriguez. He's the 3 of them might be on this next episode. We'll find out, but stay tuned. Episode 12
and then you said Andy's gonna come on after that, right?
Maybe
Andy's would be pretty interesting. Yeah. That guy has a lot of stories.
Yes, he has a lot of stories.
I think it's been 35 years he's been in the industry.
He's been in the industry for a very long time.
So he's seen it all.
I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, this is the year I was born.
Like 89?
Yeah. So
he's the president-elect, right?
He is.
Yes.
And he hasn't done it.
He's never done it?
He's never done it. So it's
Is he the first time?
Yes.
That's crazy.
But the guy's got a ton of experience. He's been on city council and stuff like that. So he'll do really well.
He was also in the political realm as well, right? Like he's got like a lot of he's got a lot of
he knows a lot of people locally and stuff like that.
Locally, nationally, like this guy's got a lot.
I was one of the people that pushed him to do it.
Do that?
Yeah, I was like, come on, you gotta check it off it, right?
That's got to be the last one off the bucket list.
Yeah.
That's gonna be really interesting.
I'm we'll get him.
Yeah, we'll get him eventually on here. So Hopefully it's tomorrow.
I heard you guys wanted me and Robert.
We
did want to have you guys on.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that'd be cool.
That would be fun. I think.
Yeah, we'll do that at a future
that.
date. Yeah. So I know we have Darren DuPont. He's gonna be on
2 weeks from now. We have Brian
next week. Brian Raymond next week. That's gonna be nice.
I'm gonna crash that one.
That's totally fine. No, just jump. I mean, he crashed episode 2 or 3?
Yeah,
he crashed one of the episodes.
Yeah.
It's nothing like formal or anything like that.
We have Brian Raymond next week. We have Darren DuPont the following week. We have Brian May from YPN the week after that, and possibly Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah
Boyle.
Oh, Sarah Boyle will be good. Yeah,
and then
she's currently on the council.
That in November, then we could do Moe and Robert again.
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go. Done.
Yeah.
We'll get that calendar. It's filling up. I think we should probably talk about when we're going to take a break during probably Christmas time.
The holidays, right before Thanksgiving, and then.
Yeah, I think that would be a good spot to take a break because I'm getting my right shoulder checked out, so I get that checked out on Tuesday. So hopefully nothing major.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's just a dislocated and I can't get it popped back in for whatever reason. So
I heard
shoulders are
weird. Rough, so hopefully.
Yeah, they say shoulder surgeries are the most meticulous ones.
I think Robert had it done. He was telling me, and he said it was extremely painful.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to scare you or anything.
No, I'm already scared as it is. Just going to sleep and then not knowing what's going on is just somebody. I've never had it happen, so this is gonna be the first time I'm even looking into even looking into surgery.
I had I broke my wrist and they had to put me to sleep. And
really?
They did the surgery, so
really?
Yeah.
I fell off a horse.
Ooh.
So
I should have had my knee checked out years ago.
Might as well knock them out both, right?
No, one at a time, man. One at a time.
While you're in there.
Yeah, one at a time. Well, I'm gonna have them check out my elbow as well. I'm gonna have them check my elbow, my right arm. So all right arm, get that checked out. Hopefully everything's good. Hopefully it's nothing major, but I'm preparing for the worst. Yeah. So that's the best thing to do. I can tell people: prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Hope for the best,
for sure.
Because if you're prepared for the worst, you're already prepped in your mind of what's going on. Yeah. So up there, I tell my wife that all the time. I was like, she's like, "Why do you think of stuff like that?" I was like, "Well, just in case we need to get in an escape route. I'm already ready. I'm already ready. That's how I'm wired. I'm looking in different avenues all the time."
Sometimes you manifest the worst, though.
Well, if you manifest the worst, you're prepared for the worst.
That's a good way to look at it.
Okay.
I'm like you. I prepare for the worst.
Yeah. I always prepare for the worst. It's okay, well, if this happens, what am I going to do if this happens?
Yeah.
I mean, I do that while I'm driving, too. And
I don't know about that.
No, no, because
I'm talking about the real estate industry, big things, not about when I'm driving down the street.
Worst case scenario, this is where I fall off.
Yeah.
No, but it saved me because I'm like, what is this driver gonna do? It saved my life because it crashed in front of us, and we avoided that crash. And if I didn't think that way, we would have been right in the thick of it.
Yeah, I don't think like that.
No, I always think like that.
No.
Yeah.
I always think like that. I don't know why. It is what it is.
Instinct.
Yeah, I think. Well, it was before I was a dad. So. So, but things happen. You always gotta be prepared. You always gotta be on your toes.
For sure.
So, especially in this industry too. Right. So.
Alrighty.
But yeah, that's gonna wrap up episode number 11.
Yeah.
Mo,
right,
we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mo.
Right,
well, I know we'll have you on in the future.
For sure.
Yes.
So hopefully we get you on with Robert this time. So you guys can keep each other accountable.
Yeah, we'll keep each other in check.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be good.
Alrighty, well that's going to end episode number 11. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, all right.
Good.
So we'll see you next time. We'll see who we have on for episode number 12, whether it's Joe Stephanie and Andy Krodick or a combination of lenders from my office.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be a really good one. So anyway, with that, we'll see ya.
All right.